Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from Joy 99.7 FM in Accra at digital address GA0993341. It's also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country including ATL FM Cape Coast and Radio Max Takrady, and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB, Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, and Telesol 4G, Just a Touch. And coming up, as he casts sword for construction of National Cathedral, President Akufo-Addo urges Ghanaians to appreciate the rationale behind the edifice as he argues God has many times saved the country from crisis.
Ghana has so far been spared civil war, famine, and epidemics. But I believe it is by the grace of God that we are being preserved and sustained.
As Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams calls on the brains behind the project not to be discouraged by critics. Also, Volta Region Parliamentary Caucus unhappy with police's handling of murder scene at slain Sugakope Assemblyman's home as they offer a 15,000 cedi bounty for information leading to the arrest of the assailants.
We don't think that the way the crime scene is being managed will help to unravel the mystery behind this murder. We don't think that the way the crime scene is being managed will help to unravel the mystery behind this murder. We don't think that the way.
For our Rival Live campaign today, we'll bring you the story of the man who sustained a spinal injury in an accident and has now lost control of his ability to urinate and defecate.
I say I can't control. That's why the urine bag is connected. I don't feel my lower limbs, I don't feel anything. It just comes by it all. It just comes by it all. Even as I talk to you now, I have vision problem. I can't see you clearly.
We'll hear from this gentleman who's not been able to walk after the incident and now relies on the benevolence of family and friends for his daily activities. And later, Joy Clean Ghana campaign gets results as Accra Metropolitan Assembly shuts down poorly ventilated school and relocates 120 pupils who previously studied under terrible hygiene conditions.
Through Clean Ghana campaign, we were able to save the life of poor children that were harbored inside one room, no ventilation, no lighting and all. About 120 children.
Stay with us for details. Sounds of trumpets being blown as President Akufo-Addo today lays the foundation stone to kickstart the construction of the much-talked-about National Cathedral. The President asked Ghanaians to appreciate the construction of the edifice as he argued God has many times saved the country from crisis. According to him, a recent Supreme Court unanimous dismissal of a case challenging the constitutionality of the construction of the project proves that it ought to be done. We'll hear from him and bring you updates of today's sword-cutting ceremony. But first, here is a report detailing key events since it was announced in 2017.
Calling on the Almighty today to bless this project.
In the first independence anniversary under his tenure as president, Nana Akufo-Addo announced the cathedral project.
Gratitude to him, the Almighty himself, who said, "My house shall be called the house of prayer for all people." That is what we have begun today, the building of that house.
It would be met with opposition from various quarters, with the CPP's James Bomfe taking the matter up to the Supreme Court.
It is not for nothing that the framers of the Constitution 1992 took inspiration from the 1969, the Second Republican Constitution, to say that we are a secular state.
The court ruled that government support in the form of land for construction was not contrary to the law.
So far as this is the public interest, and of course clearly the religious expression of Ghanaian is the public interest. So far as that has been established, that connection has been struck, clearly it's constitutional. So indeed the construction of the cathedral will go ahead for the glory of the Most High Lord, under whom we will all live in this country.
A year on, the president unveiled the design of the structure put together by renowned architect said David Ajayi.
It will have religious studies, it will have a Bible museum, it will have spaces for education, which is fundamental, and it will have a place, of course, for worship for a large congregation. We aim for this building to be an iconic emblem of the nation building that the President has set.
This, however, did not end concerns about the project, with fresh questions about whether or not the architect was licensed to carry out such a project in Ghana. The President would later reveal that he had pledged a cathedral in honor of God prior to the 2016 election.
I made a pledge to Almighty God. If He was gracious enough to grant my party, the New Patriotic Party, and I, victory in the 2016 election, after 2 unsuccessful attempts, I would help build a cathedral to His glory and honor.
There's another suit pending at the Supreme Court that seeks to block the construction of the cathedral. But for those kicking against the construction, the Action Chapel founder, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, had this to say about them.
It's us Christians fighting it, and some of you are fighting it because it's not your party and your president that is building it, so you must oppose it. And some of you love your political parties and more loyal to your political parties than you are to the Bible and the cause of Christ.
But for now, it appears all is set, and there are no two ways about the construction of the National Cathedral.
That was a News Desk report. We can now hear from President Akufo-Addo justifying the decision to construct the National Cathedral when he cut the saw today.
The reasons for my decision to mobilize support for the construction of the National Cathedral still hold. Firstly, since gaining our freedom and independence from the British colonial power, Ghana has so far been spared civil war, famine, and epidemics. We're certainly no better than the other nations in our neighborhood who have been confronted with these challenges. But I believe it is by the grace of God that we are being preserved and sustained. And the construction of the cathedral will be an act of thanksgiving to the Almighty for His blessings, favor, grace, and mercies on our nation. Second, 71% of the Ghanaian people adhere to the Christian religion. The interdenominational National Cathedral will help unify the Christian community and thereby help promote national unity and social cohesion. Supreme Court of the Republic, in unanimously rejecting recently a challenge to the constitutionality of the cathedral project, laid particular emphasis on this point in granting approval for the development of the project.
So that's President Akufo-Addo there. My colleague Maxwell Ababa was at the ceremony. He's just returned and joins me in the studio. Maxwell, several religious heads were at the ceremony, including, of course, General Overseer of the Christian Action Chapel International Ministry, Archbishop Duncan Williams. What did he have to say?
Well, he was talking about criticisms that greeted this project, and he's saying that it's important for the initiators of the project to leave everything to posterity. He says posterity is the best judge as to whether this project is a crucial one or not. He also urged the persons, the frontliners, that look, this is the time not to be bothered by the criticisms and the resistance, the seeming resistance that's coming from a section of the populace.
We'll always treat the kinds of controversy and the kinds of resistance and opposition we are facing, not just about the National Cathedral, but anything new, anything that has never been done before, anything that men cannot comprehend, appreciate, and understand. We always react to it. But let me say to the chairman and to all the members of the trustees, let us not allow the opposition, the controversy, the misrepresentation, the criticism to in any way discourage us. Let our hands be strengthened, and let us do this even if we are misrepresented and misunderstood for posterity. And let posterity determine and judge us whether we were right or wrong.
So that's Archbishop Duncan Williams. Maxwell, one of those who've also been speaking about the criticisms that greeted the decision to build the cathedral is the president of the Worldwide Miracle Outreach, Dr. Lawrence Tete. What has he been saying?
Well, he had some interesting, perspectives to share on the matter. He says that, the people would always be in need. He said for those who make an argument that the people who are in dire need of social amenities, who are being denied daily, so it's needless to put up this edifice. He says that no, the National Cathedral is very important, to the point that even if we have to break all of Accra to put up the National Cathedral, it is still important and it will still be worth it.
As for me, building a National Cathedral is like building a house of God. And so it doesn't matter whether you belong to NDC, MPP, CPP, or DPP. Building a cathedral for God is most important. People have asked, why are we breaking buildings? In fact, if you can break the whole of Accra and use it to build a house for God, it's not about Nanado. It's not about John Mahama. It's not about anybody. It's about God.
So you think it wouldn't be a misplaced priority to even break all the buildings in Accra to put up a national cathedral?
Oh, I will not mince my words. That let's break the whole of Ghana and build it into a church, and that will be a place of peace. As a matter of fact, if you want peace, cohesion, and unity, what will bring us together is the church.
What do you make of assertions out there that the resources that are going to be used to construct this cathedral, the money and everything, could be used to, there are a lot of schools under trees, there are a lot of communities without water, potable drinking water and all of that, hospitals without beds. What do you make of these suggestions?
Let me say this again. When it comes to National Cathedral and building for God, I will not politicize anything. The poor will always have. The people will always be in need. But as we build this thing, it will even be a safe haven for us to come together.
So that's the president of the Worldwide Miracle Outreach, Dr. Lawrence Stetten. He's been raising concerns about persons who criticize the demolition of structures on the land to be used for the construction of the National Cathedral. To the Volta region now, where the Volta Region Parliamentary Caucus has expressed dissatisfaction with the police's handling of a murder scene at the slain Assembly member for Sogakope South home, Marcus Mauto Azali. The MP for North Tongu, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, said this when he led the caucus and some Volta regional executives of the National Democratic Congress to commiserate with the bereaved family. Mr. Ablakwa, who described the murder incident as barbaric and heinous, fears the police might not get enough evidence to track down the assailants due to the unprofessional handling of the crime scene.
We've also met with the divisional commander. We have also proceeded to the crime scene to see for ourselves where the whole unfortunate barbaric murder took place. And we have indicated our reservations about even how the crime scene has been left unprotected. Evidence is being destroyed. And we don't think that the way the crime scene is being managed will help to unravel the mystery behind this murder. The caucus has conveyed to the Divisional Police Commander, the family, and the DCE for Southern that we are presenting or making available 15,000 Ghana cedis to support the ransom.
So that's MP for North Tongu, Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa there. Well, Joy News' Komla Adome in Sogakope as relatives of the Assembly member visited the home to understand for themselves exactly how Sunday's attack happened. He joins us on the line now. Komla, I imagine this situation is a somber one. You've been speaking to some family members. What have they been saying?
Well, Araba, it's rather very somber here. Many people who troop into the residence of the late assemblyman, some shedding tears, others asking themselves questions about. Many of them are unable to hold up. And so their family members are still questioning the rationale behind the attack, which led to the death of the assembly member. Now, many people believe that this has a lot more to do than just by a bunch of robbers who are in to take money from the home of the assembly member. Others suspect that it has something to do with the office that the man held as the assembly member for the area. So some of the family members I spoke to say they know that justice will be served some way, somehow, but as to whether it's going to be as soon as they desire, they cannot say. But all they know is that the killers of their relative, the late Mount Ajahiri, will not go unpunished.
So the two of the police want to go inside. And I asked the one holding the gun down. Then I escort them to the room to check. He said, no, if he enters the killers come again, what are he going to do? I said, So we were here arguing the thing and the wife came. When the wife can sit down, there's blood. She can't see anything with the blood. So we quickly head and lay her down on the floor. So they called their car that they brought that. She take her to the hospital. So I said they should add my brother. They said no. And said the emergency ambulance. I said, Then they killed my brother. They say, why am I saying that? I say, if the person didn't die, why is Andorra will take him out? They should let him enjoy the wife. They say no. So we sent somebody to bring the 2 keys out. So they bring it out. We send it to another room. So when we are there, what we see that there's blood coming from this direction for the small one.
How old is she?
I think 2.5. Okay. So we quickly send her to the hospital. So when this come for her, they say there's 3 years enter her. It's eating for him. So they do it. And the wife to now is weak.
So right now, do you have any confidence that those who killed Mount will be found?
By all means, if it is 20 years cry, they will be found. 20 years cry, they will be found.
Well, Kamla, we earlier heard Mr. Okudzeto Ablakwa expressing fears that the police might not get enough evidence to track down the assailants. What do you know about what headway they've made in trying to track down the assailants of this assemblyman?
Well, Araba, the police say they are opening up the investigations wide, looking beyond the Sugakofe enclave because, there's a possibility that those who carry out this attack may not be from the community. So they've widened the scope of the scope. They're looking beyond the shores of Sugakofe, and they say they are keeping their tabs on all, rest stops, all restaurants or hotels, and many of these community centers which usually have people, clustering around there. They say they are sending their men around these areas to fish out for the people they suspect could be either within or out of the neighborhood. But one thing that is significant when you get here is, the people who worked with him. When you go to where his shops are, the shops are locked. People around there are able to do their businesses. They say the kind of man who has been killed is one who sort of inspires them because of the kind of work he did, how he employed many dozens of young people here and gave them a source of livelihood. And so those sources of livelihoods are going to be truncated with the killing of this man. And so that is how much the late assemblyman meant to many of the individuals here. And also we know about the roadblocks happening on Sunday and Monday. When I got here about an hour and a half ago, traffic was flowing, but my interaction with the toll booth operators was that on the day that the young people demonstrated and blocked the road, they lost a lot of revenue because you know that this road is an international road leading to Togo and many other neighboring countries. And so once the road was blocked for hours, in fact 4 hours, they lost a lot of revenue. But they say the residents have resolved not to do that again because there has been some agreement between them and the police. So police visibility is increased here and the perpetrators are tracked.
Well, very well. Many thanks. That's my colleague Komla Adoma reporting live from the ground in Sugakofe. Now, there's a growing concern that the Fisheries Ministry may be willfully encouraging a dangerous illegal fishing practice called psycho. Speaking on Joy News' hard-hitting current affairs show Upfront, Deputy Fisheries Minister Francis Atukujo sought to justify the Fisheries Minister Elizabeth Afolekwe's promise not to ban illegal catching and transshipment of fish known as psycho. He told host Kojo Yankson that the minister's apparent declaration of support for the illegal fishing practice was just a political comment.
The minister's statement, you see, sometimes when we had a meeting, the right framework was put in place. This was more like a podcast forum. She's speaking. You are not able to pick the A, D, C, D to the Z. So she just picked her speech and said that we are not going to stop cycle. The whole idea is that some people have made this business, they are benefiting. If you cut it off immediately, you have political consequence, you have economic consequence, you have social consequence. So we said that bring it to Tema, let us record it, let us tax it, and then you can buy it.
Well, the Deputy Minister also admitted that there were Chinese vessel owners operating trawlers in Ghanaian waters. This is also illegal.
We don't give our license to foreigners. Now, we give our license to Ghanaians.
Yes.
Now, when you give the license, you have to prove to us that you have 50% ownership in the vessel.
Right.
Before we can give you the license. So our Ghanaians, our own people, come.
And are foreigners allowed to own 50%?
You who is coming for the license must prove that at least you have 50% of the ownership.
Well, I'm joined in the studio by host of Upfront, Kojo Yankson. Kojo, what exactly does the law say about foreign ownership of trawlers?
Well, Section 47(1) of the Fisheries Act is quite clear. It defines what sort of vessel can operate in our fishing waters. And it says, I quote, a local industrial or semi-industrial fishing vessel is a fishing vessel, A, owned or controlled by a citizen of Ghana, the government or owned or controlled by a company or partnership registered by law in Ghana, which has its principal place of business in Ghana and the share of which is beneficially owned wholly by the government, a citizen, a public corporation established by law in Ghana, or a combination of any of them. There's only one exception to this, and that is for tuna fishing, where at least 50% of the shares in the vessel should be owned or controlled by a Ghanaian.
So it's clearly illegal. So how deep is the Chinese involvement in Ghana's industrial trawl sector?
Well, Araba, according to London-based NGO Environmental Justice Foundation, as much as 95% of trawlers operating in Ghanaian waters are owned by the Chinese. Now, the Chinese government's Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs' own public data confirms that Dalian Mengjing Ocean Fisheries is the owner of 35 vessels, 17 of which operate in Ghanaian waters. Now, this is illegal and directly violates the Ghana Fisheries Act 625.
All right, many thanks, Kojo Yankson, for those details. Let's head to the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi, now, because there's an influx of visitors to the capital as the city prepares to host Ghana's 63rd Independence Anniversary Parade. Excited residents have been trooping to the Babayara Sports Stadium to see security personnel prepare for Friday's event, characterized by helicopter display. Love FM's Erastus Asaridongo has been monitoring events in Kumasi ahead of Independence Day and has come through with this report.
The euphoria of approaching Independence Day event is felt along the streets of Kumasi, decorated with beautiful Ghanaian flags flying to the breeze to the admiration of residents as rehearsals continue in earnest. Here at the popular Heroes Park, cultural dancers from various regions across Ghana display their rich traditional acts. Inside the main arena of the stadium, a crowd gathers to catch a glimpse of the displays by security personnel and school children.
Yeah, I think it's very nice because since I was born, this is the first time of witnessing such an event. I think it's a nice opportunity given to Kumasi people.
I have seen the NADMOs, the ambulance, the police, and the soldiers doing their own thing. And it's a marvelous thing to see. This is the first time that this...
I'm here with somebody who might have seen Independence Day back in the days.
I was a very small boy, actually.
How old were you?
About 4 or 5, but I saw it. I was in the village, but I've lived in Accra throughout and watched and watched and watched. This time I've come to the stadium and I like it.
So behind me is the match part, and so we're going to see this and more come Friday, Independence Day. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaridongo, Babayara Sports Stadium, Kumasi.
And here in the studio, I'm Araba Koomson. We're taking a short break. Still ahead, for our Arrive Alive campaign, we'll bring you the story of the man who sustained a spinal injury in an accident and has now lost the control of his ability to urinate and defecate.
I say I can't control. That's why the urine bag is connected. I don't feel my lower limbs. I don't feel anything. It just comes by it. It just comes by it. Even as I talk to you now, I have vision problem. I can't see you clear.
Also, Joy Clean Ghana campaign gets results as Accra Metropolitan Assembly shuts down poorly ventilated school and relocates 120 pupils who previously studied under terrible unhygienic conditions.
Through Clean Ghana campaign, we were able to save the life of poor children that were harbored inside one room, no ventilation, no lighting and all. About 120 children.
UMB was established in 1972 as the premier bank for the corporate and private sector in Ghana. From our very beginning, as the only Ghanaian bank serving all categories of businesses, we set a standard for excellence and innovation over the past 45 years. We've built a financially healthy and strong bank, demonstrated our commitment to our customers and to growing businesses, and exhibited originality and innovation at every turn. At UMB, our focus is built around people, service, products and technology. These are the key to our present success and our future triumphs. At UMB, we're poised to make a difference not only with our customers, but also in the banking industry. We invite you to share in our future. Our future starts now with you.
Good things come in two, Sampa. Mienu ye chemba kwate. And Nunti, from the second month of the year, for 2 months, DSTV is giving you 2 months DSTV access subscription instead of one when you buy a DSTV Zapper. Nothing so. Yes, step you up more than last month. Just pay for a higher package and DSTV will step you up to the one above that from 40 Ghana cedis all month long. SMS DSTV to 1731 and we will call you back or call 0302 740 540. DSTV. Feel every moment.
You're welcome back to the Midday News. Now, it was a normal day. 37-year-old Dennis Ayambila was heading to Bolgatanga for the burial of his father, but a crash midway robbed him of the opportunity to say his final goodbye. It also robbed him of his joy as a spinal injury has made him lose his ability to control urine flow and excreta. Maxwell Ababa has more in this story for our Arrive Alive campaign to stop accidents on Ghana's roads. Listener discretion is advised for this story. You may find parts of it disturbing.
I am in Dennis's room. His sister Gloria is trying to get him in a reclining position for this interview, but the pain is simply unbearable. A tube-like device that stores his urine lies on the floor close to him. He sits to narrate to me how a speeding driver truncated his aspirations in his final year of studies to become a medical practitioner.
Police report that managed to get. When you read the police report, they were saying that the driver of the trailer was the one who caused the accident. He was overspeeding and then was sleeping at the same time. Some of the people got trapped in the bus. The bus caught fire. Then our driver is missing other people to ashes, living with only their schools.
He sustained a spinal injury which affected his ability to control urine flow and excreta.
I can't control. Yeah, I can't control it. That's why the urine bag is connected. Because if I were to be able to control, there's something that if I feel like urinating, I will just take it in, put it in and urinate. I don't feel my lower limbs, I don't feel anything. It just comes by it all. It just comes by it all. The same thing to when I'm going on private, it comes just like that. So as I sit, I have to be checking myself and all that. I've been confined to one place. Even as I talk to you now, I have vision problems. Even as I'm talking to you, I can't see you clearly. I have vision problems. I'm even losing my sight gradually. My life is going waste. My life is going waste. And at this my age, I still have a long way to go in life. So I'm really appealing to the general public, appealing to Ghanaians, and even the rest of the world should please come to my aid.
His 25-year-old sister, Gloria Labrob, says she had to drop out of school to take care of her brother who used to fund her education.
Maxwell Agbaba with that report. Now, there's been an online publication attributed to Joy News where host of Pulse on the Joy News channel on Multi-TV, Gifty Andrew-Appiah, is said to have conducted an interview encouraging viewers to invest in Bitcoin. This article, titled Gifty Andrew-Appiah, "This is Crazy, Kodrenchi's Financial Interview Could Make Ghanaians Rich," is aggregated from a marketing fraud website. Gifty joins me online with more details about this. Gifty, tell us more about this story making rounds on social media.
Well, Araba, that story started circulating somewhere last month on social, especially on Facebook. Several people were sharing it. If you look at the story, it says graphiconline.com. So we called up Graphic. Graphic said they have not published anything like that. Ghana Web published the story from Graphic Online. Ghana Web has since retracted the story and apologized. But it looks like another website is sharing that news item, that fake news item, and people are sharing it on Facebook. In fact, I've received several messages from people on Facebook asking how they can join in the Bitcoin. We've heard that people have come to the office asking that we have conducted interviews on Bitcoin. They want to join, but this is a scam. Now, if you read the article, it talks about how people can invest in Bitcoin and make money within a few hours. That is not true. So what we suspect is that these people are using it to scam people into making an initial deposit of $250, after which they claim you will make profits. But it is a total scam. No such interview has gone on between me and Kojo Enchi. Nothing like that on our multi-TV or our Joy News platform has happened. So listeners should be careful not to be scammed.
Exactly. Listeners should be careful not to be scammed. Many thanks, Gifty and Appear there. And that's how we wrap up the news here on Joy 99.7 FM. Our top stories: as he cuts sword for construction of the National Cathedral, President Akufo-Addo urges Ghanaians to appreciate the rationale behind the edifice, as he argues God has many times saved the country from crisis. And the Volta Region Parliamentary Caucus unhappy with the police's handling of a murder scene at Slain Sukakope Assemblyman's home, as they offer a 15,000 cedi bounty for information leading to the arrest of the assailants. There's more news at myjoyonline.com. I'm Araba Koomson. Have a lovely afternoon and a wonderful holiday.